So hi, welcome to Guys Podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm Glory.
And we're here with.
I'm Luke.
I'm Gus, and we're VOILA.
And we have some questions to say about the upcoming album, Glass Half Empty Part 2. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you guys feel about the response to the announcement so far?
Oof. Pretty excited. We just dropped a teaser in our Discord about 30 minutes ago, and we put like an exclusive link to it on our stories, and like 1,000 people have already got the link, so that's pretty cool.
God damn.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That's very exciting.
People are tuning in.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are tuning in. We like to leak songs because we release a song every 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really fun jumping in and seeing the community like live real time react.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So fun.
Well, the album fucking rips.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
So
Yeah.
much. That's very kind.
Yeah, hell yeah. So is there any meaning behind the album title or cover art?
Yeah, actually, I'm glad that you asked that. We're the kind of band where I feel like the album art is one of the last stops to like really put a storytelling element in there.
Mm-hmm.
And also like I personally believe that like physical artists, like painters and drawers, like I can't possibly fathom like how their brain works. I think it's just so amazing. So I always like to make sure we highlight that at some point. For me, the idea was putting the hourglass as the glass half empty, because I think a lot of times we talk about is the perspective the glass half full or is it half empty? But I think what is in the glass, right? And for the album cover, we chose to do sand as if it's time. You know, is the love that we have is half of it gone or is half of it left? And I also like the concept of like all love gets buried in time, because it makes loss a lot easier, but it also makes love that much more special because it is so fleeting. And so the title then really is exploring what is in that glass. And I think we did a bunch of different sonic elements in this record. We have some upbeat songs, we have some really angry songs, we have some sad songs. So I think it's really up to the listener to decide, like, is the glass full of champagne? Is it full of medicine? Is it full of poison? And you get to pick what you want to listen to. Yeah.
Hell yeah. I do appreciate artists that like in this day and age still like give a shit about what the cover art looks like and how you're presenting the project, because like the excuse artists use nowadays is like, it's not going to be physical. We're not pressing vinyl. But at the same time, it's like you still have to capture someone's attention, because you've only got, if they see it on their feed, you got 0.3 seconds to catch their attention with the most captivating artwork you can.
Yeah.
And I personally, it's kind of like almost like a selfish motive. I just love art. I love paintings. I just always have. I love animation, and it's something that like I can't wrap my mind around ever being able to do. It's kind of like comics. I watch them and I go, I could never do that. Like that is so difficult. And that's how I feel about artists too. Yeah.
Absolutely. Hell yeah.
Damn right.
So can you guys tell us a little bit about your writing process for the album?
Yeah, so for us, we kind of split responsibility 50-50. Like we self-produce our records and always have. And I'm kind of responsible for like sonics and production and melody. And Luke comes in and essentially tells the stories. And we then kind of link up once we have something inspiring on like the production end, something that I think is like triggering emotional reaction to just the music without any like melody and lyricism on top. Then we think we have like an idea that will work. And then I'll send like a melody to Luke. He'll send me back a few lyric ideas. We'll throw them in the track. We'll try it out. And then we kind of go from there and piecemeal together songs literally like that.
Gotcha. Now, I know you mentioned you guys put out a song like every 3 weeks. So was the intention behind this and the writing sessions to create a record, or was it like singles that eventually showed itself to turn into two parts, of two records?
That's a good question. Gus and I are kind of always just writing music. And some of the stuff, there are songs on this album that are more than 3 years old. And so we kind of once we decided on the glass half empty theme, we started going through the songs that we had written, and some of them like that we wrote during this time will go on like an upcoming album. Some of them ended up on this. Some of them might be rewritten for something later. But I think we kind of just are writing all the time, and we're not ever writing for a specific project, except for Happy Never After, which was a concept album, our first album. But this one is a concept album, so we're a little bit looser with picking the songs for it.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense.
Gotcha. So what song off the album took the longest to write, and then which one is each of your own personal favorite?
I'll let you start, guys.
My personal favorite is the focus track of the album, which is All Cells Are Final with Lauren Sanderson. Off the second half, that's my favorite. And then did you say what one took the longest to write?
Yeah, most difficult.
It's interesting. We were actually talking about this the other day, and I think the ones that make the album, like, we won't let the album get delayed by one song like taking a long time. We'll then just replace it with another song.
Yeah.
Is kind of my thought with it. Like, if there's something that doesn't feel like it can get across the line in time, like Luke and I are happy to like put that in the back pocket, keep it for a future project potentially, and like throw something that's really inspiring right now in there in its place if it fits like thematically. But that's my two picks, Luke.
Yeah. It's tough. I really liked the double single School Night Get a Room. I'm really like, personally, I play those two the most back. I like how both of those feel. I think they're like really like half pipe emotions, there's like really highs and really lows. The song that took the longest to write, just like objectively how long like the material in it has been existing, is the last one, which is the Treasure 6 Feet Under song, which isn't out yet. But I've been kind of writing that poem for like almost 10 years, and to like put that together was really nice. There's one of my favorite songs of all time, if not my favorite song, is What a Catch, Donnie by Fall Out Boy.
Hell yeah.
Damn right.
One just like really changed that. I've always wanted to be a writer. I thought I was going to be an author, but it was really Elliott Smith and that song that convinced me to do like actual music and songwriting. And so that song is like my tribute to What a Catch, Donnie, and like what that song did for my life, and it's my version of it. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Shout out Fall Out Boy.
Yeah, I mean, unbelievable. I used to take the liner notes, like I used to buy the CDs, and the liner notes had all of the lyrics. And in school, I couldn't listen to music, of course. So I take the liner notes and rewrite the songs from my perspective. And like that's how I learned how to songwrite, was from the Fall Out Boy liner notes. Yeah. That's
fucking awesome. So do you still do that now with songs where you kind of rewrite them for your own
sometimes
perspective?
for fun. Yeah, like I especially like female fronted bands, like I like to take a lot of those songs and like flip it from like what's the guy's perspective. That's just like a fun exercise. I don't really take that seriously anymore, but yeah,
that's awesome. So how'd the track list for the album come about? Did you guys write the opener be the opener, close be the closer, shuffle and see what fits? What was that process like?
So I mean, originally there wasn't going to be two parts to the album. It was just one big album. The opener and the closer are actually existing on part one. So it does open with Something Blue and it closes with Petals. So the first line of Something Blue is Dearly Beloved, and then the first line of Petals is Dearly Departed. So that's kind of, again, all love gets buried in time. So if there wasn't two parts and it was just all together, it would just start with Something Blue and end with Petals. But yeah, there are some like definitely like thematic elements and some stories that are like tied together. We have Dead to Me is tied together with Heartbreak Hotline. We have on the last album, we talk a lot about, and actually all of our albums, the Mercedes and the Locket, and those are just nods that this is the same story, the same relationship. So that is kind of, that story continues on this too. So yeah, there's some like through lines.
Gotcha. Yeah. So there was no plan to do a part two, and did it just so happen that you guys had like more songs that kind of were talking about the same thing that you're talking about on the first part?
Yeah, we just wanted to put out a song every 3 weeks, and then we realized we found a way with Spotify where every like twice a year we could give 7 extra. Yeah, that's really what it was. We just wanted to put out more music than ever. Gotcha. And that's why we stacked it that way. Yeah.
Damn right.
Yeah.
Solid. And would you guys be able to tell us where your headspace is at while you're creating this album?
Yeah, go ahead, guys. Let's start.
Yeah, I think honestly, like to that question kind of makes me want to talk about the fact that one of my favorite things is to like see people's favorite songs and often have a favorite song that's like a deep cut or feels like one that's not a single or
Hmm.
like is the one that a team would have cut if we were like signed to people with a ton of opinions and they didn't think a certain song was like of a certain level.
Mhm.
And it's the most gratifying thing being able to like exist in our community in places where like someone might absolutely love like the slow ballad that's only done like what 250,000 streams versus this single that's done 10. And it's like that moment is very inspiring for Luke and I because it's like, okay, like being able to be an album band, being able to release 25 songs a year and like guarantee that to our fan base, I think is very exciting for them, but it also just gives us complete creative leeway to be like, damn, well, we can just make music and just keep going. So I
Yeah,
think the headspace is like very free. Like we're not limited by almost anything. And I think we kind of like genre blind now as well.
that's
So
fun.
that's one too, is like we can just reach for any instrument and try and make it a Voila song.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's
Cool.
cool, man.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
I Yeah, that's actually a really good question. I haven't really thought about it. I think that for me, the last few years have just been like tougher, and I kind of sometimes feel like my life is like playing chess, and then but like I don't know how any of the pieces move, and then like
Mm.
what's further than that is I realize like I am one of the pieces, and every time I like try to do one thing, it's like no, you don't do that. Like you're not supposed to do it that way,
Yeah.
and if you do that, and I think writing an album, writing music is like kind of like the knight learning that he goes up two and over one. It just
Mhm.
makes sense, and I think writing music for whatever reason is just the only thing that makes sense. It just feels like that's what I'm supposed to do, and I think writing this album really just highlighted that for me, where it was like this is the only thing that really comes natural to me. It feels right and does make me not just happy but like content.
Yeah.
uh it's neat, it's just right. And yeah, so that's why we did a ton of songs. It just kind of comes out that
Mhm.
way. So I think the headspace was just kind of letting the dog bark, so to speak, just doing what's natural.
Yeah.
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 And
Damn right.
Gus,
Yeah.
I know you mentioned like you guys kind of are excited that you figured out this way that you can put out like 25 songs a year and have that creative outlet and like be genre blind in a way. But are you guys struggling at all like with the creative burnout of putting together 25 songs self-produced every year?
No, because I mean, the thing is like people ask sometimes, like, hey, what do you do in your downtime?
Yeah.
And like, I think people don't realize that when you are so obsessively in love with something and you get to call that work, like the thought of being able to release 25 songs a year just like gets me inspired. But the interesting point you make there is like, the concept of that question you asked about was there a song that took time
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
like finish?
Yeah.
And that's where I think the stress and the creative burnout comes from. But
Mhm.
like if you fundamentally within your business model are allowed to just shelf a song because you guys can't finish it and start something new and that can then fill the void of that, I
Mhm.
think you kind of get rid of the concept of like creative burnout because you can constantly try new stuff. And if you're
Mhm.
genre blind, like we're talking about, like you can release a dance tune. You can release like a
Yeah.
slow piano ballad because it feels good to you one week. And
Mhm.
obviously, we do still have moments when we're like, damn, I can't find the right melody, I can't find the right lyric.
Mhm.
But I think the fact that constantly on the horizon is an ability to drop a song whenever you want and
Mhm.
it to sound however you want and to know that you have a community of people that will probably like it.
Mhm.
Uh, like no matter what structural format it fits, that is so inspiring for us. I think that like we tend not to get too burnt out.
Mm-mm. You also have to like what's really interesting about Gus and I, we've been doing, making music together for 10 years. Gus is my closest friend, but
Mhm.
that's how we hang out. Like Gus and I like don't watch TV or play video games or like go to
Yeah.
the pub. Like we make music. And so it's kind of like we're never gonna get burnt out because that's how our friendship is. That's what we love to do. We when there's obviously a lot that goes into, especially because we're independent. There's a lot of business that happens, with Voila. But the days that we can just go into the studio, put the phone down, and just write, like that's kind of like going skateboarding with a friend. It's like this is what we do for fun, and I could never imagine getting burnt out doing that. It's just simply too fun.
Absolutely. Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So how do you recommend your fans to listen to this album for the first time? Should do in the car with friends, in the dark with headphones on? Is a workout album, party album? What do you guys personally recommend?
You have great questions.
Thank you.
Really good questions.
Tough one.
That's a really good question. I can only speak to how I listen to albums, which is I pull up the lyrics and I just start from the top. And then you find what songs do you want to keep. And then that can fit into wherever it fits. Some songs are definitely for like, crying showers. Some songs are definitely meant for long drives. Some songs are probably meant to send to your ex. I don't know. You kind of gotta go. It's like going to Goodwill and like trying to find the shirt that fits you. You gotta like really ruffle through everything.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
I would definitely listen. I would blast it in the car. That's my windows down. If you're traveling for 45 minutes or whatever it is, just absolutely tear it down in the car.
Yeah. Fuck
Right.
yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
agree. And this one should be super, super quick off the top of your heads. I want you guys to describe this album for new listeners in 3 words. 3 words each, 6 total, no more, no less.
You said that was super easy off the top of our heads.
I
It's
never
not
said it
supposed
was
to be
easy.
easy.
But it's got to be off
Just
the.
has to
It's
be
got to be off the
quick.
dome.
Yeah. Off the
Quick?
dome.
Oh my God.
That's so good. That's so good.
Luke,
Are you okay? Question mark.
Solid.
All
Yeah.
right.
and I'll go with 3 actual words. Okay, we'll go intense, therapeutic, experimental.
Ooh. Solid.
Nice. Hell yeah.
That's good.
And in that same train of thought, is there a certain feeling or emotion you want listeners to have while going through the album?
I mean, going back to the like what's in the glass thing, I don't even know what emotion is happening. I think it's anything but apathy, right? I think Cure for Breathing, our last album, was a very apathetic album. And I think that this album is like going back to the glass thing, very overflowing album. There's just a lot of stuff. Yeah, it's so anything but apathy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which should be a sick band name, by the way.
That is.
Yeah, write that shit down.
Sick metalcore band.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Gus, do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I think my exciting thing about this is like there's so many gateway drugs to our music now, and that's what I want people to pull from it. It's like I don't think you can say there isn't like a Voila song that someone from a different genre can like pull in and be like, I might like that one. And I like that. Like, so basically you can kind of tailor your experience to what you're seeing. Less like we need them to experience a certain thing. It's much more like what is their fundamental perspective on the song, or like what does it mean to them? And that's kind of why Luke mentions this all the time. And like the band name came from that. Like Voila means there you are, essentially. And our goal with that is like we're not the band that like wants to basically completely impose ourselves on our music. We totally need it to be a vessel for people to see themselves. And that is like a fundamental understanding that Luke and I have when we write songs. It's like, can you hear every single person in a stadium singing this and feeling it and feeling represented in it? Or the other side of the music is like, oh, is it sort of like kind of self-serving? And like we don't want it to be that ever.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my like emotional perspective on our music. Is like I just love when someone who might not have stumbled across our band because of one song that like leans more alt or leans more pop or leans more, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Fucking dig that. Hell yeah. And are you guys able to touch on any particularly challenging or standout moments during the creation of the album, positive or negative?
Yeah. I mean, it's always so when you do release a lot of songs, it is just a lot of time that goes into like the mix process, like the actual technical elements of getting songs done and getting into a standard. Because I think like the alternative genre right now is just very, very like packed with great producers,
Mhm.
and the songs sound absolutely massive. And like, for instance, like the new Bring Me the Horizon record, Zach Savini did that whole thing,
Yeah.
and it just sounds unbelievable.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so you're listening to those songs, and like we've got those heavier tunes, and I'm listening, I'm like, shit, we got to level this stuff up and really like compete in any way we can.
Mhm.
So it definitely, that's the struggle on my end, is like, 10 hours a day, absolute minimum for 2 months on end, like
Mhm.
getting the record done.
Yeah.
And that's with our like mix engineer Joel, who turns around stuff the whole time. But it is completely constant in terms of like getting it done. And I think that definitely can wear down a little bit, and like
Mhm.
that gets a bit intense sometimes.
Yeah.
But obviously it's all serving a purpose that's much bigger than ourselves, so I just got to suck it up and get on with it.
Yeah.
That's the
It
vibe.
might be the hobby, but it's also the gig, you know?
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're
Lukey,
right.
what about you?
Oh man, I don't know. I think what's challenging in general with any sort of writing is like these things are like kind of carved into stone, you know? And I think that a lot of the lyrics are conversations, and usually in life, like you have conversations, and then do you guys ever do this where like you have a conversation with someone and then like you're in the shower the next morning, you go, oh man, I should have said that.
Oh
You know?
yeah.
And that
All
would
the
have been
time.
perfect. So
Mhm.
I think that I approach a lot of this very conversationally, but then you realize that it is really carved into stone. Like this is now on the album, this is forever. And I think
Mhm.
some of it, I have to like, it almost feel like I have to explain to like friends or family. It was like, no, that's how I was feeling when I wrote this. You know, I don't feel that way now. I got it out.
Yeah.
I that conversation. And the other thing is like a lot of these songs are conversations that I would have like with the dashboard of my car, or like with the pillowcase, or like with myself. And then for them to be public, you have to sometimes, I think, preface that it's like, yeah, that's how that was a moment in time, not forever.
Yeah.
Which I think actually makes music really helpful, is when people are going through a moment in time, to just have the validation that someone else has also been going through a moment in time, and then you
Mhm.
get through it, because you got to go through it. You can't just stop.
Absolutely. Of
Yeah.
course, the best art is made from the personal experiences and the conversations you have with people. But do you struggle at all with obviously putting that side out of you for the masses to see? Because as you said, it is etched in stone. It is a moment. You're sharing that moment with the world. Do you get like anxiety or nervous sharing that?
No, I don't know. I don't know why. I think it feels really, I've always been, you can tell as I talk in circles right now. I just love to share things.
Mhm.
But there's this moment where I saw it on this last tour. And I've actually been like really obsessed with this concept, but like people get really excited when we play songs about like the worst moments of my life. And like the second we play that chord, like people are crying, but they're jumping, they're excited, and they're grabbing their friends. And there's
Yeah.
something I realize that like it's really important, I think, to get as personal as possible and really talk about the darkest thoughts that you have, because when you share them with other people and they also feel something like that,
Mhm.
it becomes exciting to do it together. When you realize that you're not lonely alone, it really doesn't become scary, right? And I think that's what fear is. That's why when you're young, you ask your mother to turn on the lights so you can see that the coat in the closet isn't a monster. It's the same thing when you talk about that you've had dark thoughts or dark moments. You're turning on the light for other people to go, oh, okay, like that is not just me. This isn't the end. This is an experience that's very human, you know?
Mhm.
We all cry, we all hurt, we all feel lost. And then it becomes kind of exciting because you can get it out and you can just embrace it like an old friend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
God damn, that was well said.
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay.
So for this question, I want you guys to picture you're on tour, you're at a gas station for a rest stop. What is your snack of choice?
Pretzels and peanut butter.
Oh, solid. Mhm.
Protein bar and beef jerky.
Beef jerky? Are you like a teriyaki or like a black pepper?
I actually do the leanest one because it's like 2 grams of extra carbs in the black pepper and teriyaki.
Fuck, dude, I didn't know that. Oh my, you just ruined black pepper for me, man. Jesus Christ. And on the topic of food, if the band was a dish, what dish would the band be and why?
You guys are awesome, man. These questions are so good.
Thank you.
Okay. Um,
Bangers and mash.
why would it be bangers and mash?
Let's unpack that.
Fish and chips.
What? Why is it fish and chips?
Luke, Luke loves the British pub down where he lives, so I was just trying to, oh, like maybe the Coronation Chicken Sarnie.
Well, what? So is it? So the band is food that I like.
The band it's basically what you think you represent
Yeah.
as a dish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So are you
yeah.
like spicy? Are you salty? Are you sweet? Just that like that type of shit.
I think that we are a Whopper from Burger King because you can have it your way. You can choose your voila journey, right?
Custom,
Mhm.
customized.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the coolest part about when we go on these tours. We try to talk to as many people, and I go, "What's your favorite song?" I've heard every one of our songs represented in "What's your favorite song," and so I just know that everyone's going on their own little voila journey, and like they pick up their little friends. It's cool because when you go to concerts, like there are songs that we play that like maybe the whole left side of like the crowd doesn't really like love, and then the right side will be super into it. And you see these little
Yeah.
pockets of friends that all kind of have their own journey, and they'll dress similar and they look similar, and you can almost like tell when people come to a concert like, oh, these people like the Deja Vu EP, or like these people.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that it's like very choose your own adventure when you go into the Voila playlist. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Damn right.
All right. And for the last couple questions, we're going to shift completely away from music and go straight to death row.
Boom.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
My favorite drink in the world is whole milk, and I haven't been able to have it for the last like
Crazy
3
thing.
years because I drank too much of it. Like Gus remembers this in college. I used to walk around with a full gallon of whole milk, and I just loved it. And I drank too much that my body was like, "You're done." And then I would break out or get stomach aches when I would drink milk. So I would love to have a gallon of milk and a peanut butter sandwich.
That's solid as fuck. The gallon of milk, that story kind of caught me off guard. I did not place you as a milk guy. I'm gonna be so real.
I loved it, and it's one of those things that like, you know how like when you listen to our sad songs, you're like, man, he must really miss a girl. I don't. I just miss whole milk. That's
Yeah. It's all about milk.
the glass half empty is whole milk for me for sure.
Fuck, dude. That's tough.
For me, if it's my final day, I fucking love Mountain Dew for some reason. Because I tried it for the first time when we came to America, and I was like 15. I was like, what is this? Did they put crack in it or something? It was crazy.
Oh yeah, they did.
And then for the meal, I would probably just have like a really salted, really like vinegar infused fish and chips in a newspaper wrapper, like old school British meal.
Yeah.
Hell
Solid.
Yeah. All right.
It's wonderful. And if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
Harry Potter, Hogwarts
What
specifically.
house are you?
I'm Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw. Interesting. Okay.
Harry Potter is, I think, the thing I know and care about the most.
That's solid. Yeah.
I mean,
Fuck with Harry Potter.
he's completely obsessed. It's like you've basically uncovered his whole meaning of life currently.
Yeah, Harry Potter.
Yeah. No, my life would have been so dramatically different if it wasn't for Harry Potter.
Yeah. Do
Just
you have
such
a favorite book?
Yes, I do. I like the 7th one, but I also do like the 6th, learning about like all of Voldemort's background.
Yeah, that's Half-Blood Prince, right?
That's
Next one. Yeah, damn right. That's my favorite.
If you ever want to have like a 7-hour podcast, we can talk about Harry Potter.
Okay, yeah, we'll just do like a full conversation. Yeah, that'll be fine. Yeah.
100%.
I sent the link to Luke yesterday, but we were with our Discord yesterday, and we were speaking about we're going to do a Discord tour next year, and it's going to be like a bunch of events that we host in our server and stuff. Like it's podcast, we talk about songs, we have release parties in there, we do basically everything in there. And one of the tour poster might be the that map.
Oh, the Marauders map. Is that true? Yeah,
What
fuck
you in?
yeah. Oh,
Huh?
I'm in a Hufflepuff.
You're Hufflepuff. Cool.
Yeah, Hufflepuff. Yeah. People always say it's the lame one, and I'm like, guys, they're just like kind and like chilling shit, you know? Like it's not that bad.
Hufflepuff, everyone says it's lame because it's the hardest to be in. To be a loyal friend is the hardest job in the world.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
It's really easy to be cunning. It's easy to be brave. It is really hard to be loyal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That takes a true yeah, good person.
Mhm.
Which is
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
Damn right.
Gus, what about you? Where you living?
Of it. I'm gonna plead the fifth on this one because I think you've already leaned into, I think, a more substantial response than I have. My current world is one we're building, and it's the world of the magicians, and we're putting pieces in place.
Okay, okay.
Gus is
Uh-huh.
living in his fictional world already. Gus,
Mm.
Gus and I are complete opposites. Like he loves reality and I love fiction, and that's why I think we're a really good writing duo.
Yeah, damn right.
Oh yeah.
Balance.
And I've done of asking the last question. Every single person that we've spoken to have said that it is the most important question. What's your favorite color?
This color,
Was that cream?
same as my hat. I don't know what it is.
I think.
Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah,
Cream,
solid.
beige, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Pastel.
don't know.
Pastel.
Pastel. Soft.
Soft, yeah.
Oh man, mine changes a lot. I really do like white. I like the blankness of white. But I think as of today, I like blue. I'm wearing a blue shirt. And
Yeah.
so
All right. Hell yeah.
Shout out blue.
So as I said, that's all the questions we have today. Is anything that you guys would like to plug?
You guys and your podcast. Thanks for having us. Appreciate
great.
you.
Of course.
Yeah, she was awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Arsenal. This guy has been Voila, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.